Good evening to everyone. Students, how are you? So students, we are in last chapter of this subject, that is chapter number 11, ethics and terms of audit engagements. So guys, those of you who are listening to me since beginning, you must be remembering that while doing chapter 1, we had touched upon the concept of ethics. Yes, you remember guys? So we had touched upon the concept of ethics. So this chapter is all about what do ethics mean in the context of CA profession, why they are important, and what are the fundamental principles governing professional ethics. What is the concept of independence? What are threats to independence? And besides, there are 3 engagement standards in this chapter, which are Ch11, agreeing terms of audit engagement, and one is SQC1, that is quality control standard, and Ch220, audit quality control in an audit of financial statements. So this is what we are going to discuss today. So yes, Komal, you are back after quite some time. Yes. So students, ethics, you remember the meaning of ethics? What do we mean by ethics? Yes. Any one of you? What do we mean by ethics? So ethics are, students, moral principles governing one's behavior. Now, ethics have been taught to us since our childhood. Like this is right, this is wrong. So these have been imbibed by us, rather. Like our parents told us to be honest and all such things. But here we shall be talking about ethics in the context of our profession, that is CA profession. So tell me students, why is there so much importance attached to ethics in accountancy profession? Why is there so much importance, so much significance attached to ethics in accountancy profession? What is the reason of it? Yes, anyone who can tell? Why so much importance is attached to ethics in CA profession? Why it is being emphasized that a chartered accountant has to be honest in his dealings, he has to be truthful, he has to be objective, he has to maintain confidentiality? What is the logic? What is the reason behind all these things? Yes, guys, make some guess. Yes, Sushil, Komal, and Komal Jain. Yes, can you figure out, guys? None. So students, ethics become important in accountancy profession because of the public interest involved. Say like a chartered accountant, like an auditor has to sign financial statements. So these financial statements are used by various stakeholders. Like these may be used by shareholders, by public at large, by various authorities, by creditors, by bankers. So therefore, it becomes important that confidence of users of financial statements is maintained. Therefore, so much importance is attached to ethics in chartered accountancy profession. Now, Sushil, it is not to maintain harmony. So I am telling you the correct reason. So guys, unless you understand significance or importance of some concept, you can't do justice to it. You have to always keep in mind this fact. So first, understand what a thing is, what a concept, what a topic is all about, and understand its significance, understand its importance, why it is relevant. Then all other things would automatically flow from it, and it would be easier for you to remember, and it would be easier for you to apply the concept when in doubt. So guys, you understand that why ethics are important in accountancy profession. And ethics, students, are not something which can be imposed. All the rules are there, laws are there. Like there are various clauses in Chartered Accountants Act 1949, which state that such acts, such things, or such things would constitute a professional misconduct on the part of a CA, whether he is in practice or whether he is in service. But these things can't be, as I've told you, these things can't be imposed. These have to be absorbed. These have to be imbibed. These have to be ingrained. These have to be part of one's character. Okay, so these become part of a person's personality. It becomes part of his attitude. Like he is going to follow ethical behavior in every professional aspect. Yes. So students, another thing you have to keep in mind that these professional ethics have been codified by ICAI. These have been codified by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So what do you mean by codification? Yes, anyone who can tell? What is the meaning of codification? What is the meaning of this when I say that ethics have been codified by ICAI? That there exists a code of ethics for chartered accountants. What is the meaning of this line? Yes. Yes, students. Today your response is quite cool, guys. Yes, Rohani, you are saying they have been specified to be followed in some way. Yes, near to that. Codification means that these have been arranged in a systematic way. These have been arranged in a systematic way. to be followed. Like they have constituted a code of ethics which is to be followed by chartered accountants. So this code of ethics, students, is not in your syllabus at intermediate level. The code of ethics and all the ethics, all the acts, all the provisions of Chartered Accountants Act 1949, what constitutes a professional misconduct, and what are the council guidelines, these would come at CA final level. For the moment, for the time being, here you have to understand that ICAI has codified ethics for chartered accountants. Okay. And this code is based upon ISBA code of ethics. So what is ISBA? There is a body, students, international body, ISBA. International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants. Now it works under the auspices of IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, and it has devised a code for chartered accountants at global level, and ICAI's code of ethics is derived from ISBA code. This much you have to remember, and remember that if a member of the institute, whether he is in practice or whether he is in service in some industry, if he doesn't follow code of ethics, then it constitutes a professional misconduct, and the disciplinary body in ICAI, it can impose fine on it, it can suspend its membership, it can reprimand him. So such type of things, the powers of disciplinary body are quite wide. Okay, clear, students? And yes, ISBA is a international body, Sushil. The full form is International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants. So ISBA is the name of a body. It has developed a code. So Institute's Code of Ethics for Chartered Accountants in India is derived from that. You have to understand that. And students, there are two approaches to ethics. One is principles based approach and another is a rule based approach. Now what is the difference between two? What is principles based approach and what is rules based approach? Like as I have told you just now, that ethics have to be ingrained in one's character, these have to be absorbed in one's behavior. It is an attitude of mind. So one shall do all his professional work according to ethics, according to principles. Yes, IFAC is International Federation for Accountants. Whereas rule-based approach relates to following those things which are strictly prescribed in rules. So everything, I would see the rule book where it is written or where it is not written, where it is specified. So the problem with such kind of approach, the problem with rule-based approach is that one may find shortcuts to circumvent the rules, to bypass the rules. However, if you absorb something, if you form something part of your attitude, if you form something as part of your personality, then automatically you are going to do things ethically, in an ethical manner. Yes, guys, is this clear? So code of ethics of ICAI, which is derived from ISBA code, it states 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics. Students, for examination point of view, these 5 fundamental principles are very important. In routine, one question is coming either in case based questions or in descriptive type of questions from this area. Routinely it is coming. Say in say 5 attempts, in 2-3 attempts you would find some question relating to it. So correctly remember the names of all fundamental principles, all 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics, understand their meaning, and understand distinction between all these fundamental 5 principles. Now, these 5 fundamental principles are: number 1, integrity; number 2, objectivity; number 3 is professional competence and due care; fourth is confidentiality; and fifth is professional behavior. Now we shall understand what do we mean by these principles, what do we mean by these terms. Now, what is integrity? So students, integrity means that a professional accountant has to be honest in his dealings, he shall be truthful, and he shall not sign any report or any statement or any certificate or any return which is untrue or which is misleading. So he shall not sign any report or any statement or any return which is false, which he knows it to be false, or which omits some information which can make it misleading. Okay. Suppose now let us take an example. Suppose suppose a client comes to you and he asks you to certify certain figures. So how you would certify those figures? Obviously, you would be certifying those figures on the basis of some records, on the basis of some books of accounts. But say if you certify false figures, if in books of accounts or in the records of entity, you whatever figures are there, you give a false certificate, or you give false report, then you are violating this principle of integrity. So integrity means this. Clear, students? Again, I am repeating it. Integrity means that one has to be truthful and honest in his dealings. He has to be straightforward, and he would not sign any false document which he knows to be false. And while signing some report, some return, he would not knowingly omit some information which can make it misleading. So if he does so, then he is violating this principle of integrity. Clear, students? And what is objectivity? Objectivity means that I shall take an impartial view of the situation on the basis of facts, without being influenced by somebody else. So I shall take decision in an objective manner. So that is the meaning of objectivity. Now third is professional competence and due care. Now what is professional competence and due care? It means that I shall always, as a chartered accountant, I shall always advise my client with my professional competent knowledge, and I shall always be diligent. I shall always be careful in executing the work, in giving advice. So that is the meaning of professional competence and due care. Suppose there is some change in law and you fail to advise your client regarding that. So you have not acted in an ethical manner. So the client expects from you to advise him regarding some change in law, which can have impact upon him, upon its financial statements. Okay. Fourth principle is confidentiality. Now confidentiality means that whatever information comes to me by virtue of my association with the client, so I would keep that information confidential. Now can you tell students why this principle is there? What is the logic of this principle of confidentiality? Why this principle forms part of one of the fundamental principles of professional ethics? Yes, anyone? Yes, Sumit, Devesh. You can respond on your mails, guys. Yes. Why confidentiality is enshrined as a principle? Yes, that is right, Tony Krishnan and Sumit, that information of auditee is not to share with others, not to disclose with details of clients. That is the meaning of confidentiality. But I am asking from you logic behind it. That what is the logic of confidentiality principle? We are just discussing, guys. It is for widening your knowledge. Yes, Devesh, you are right. You are saying because the client trusts on us. That's right. So because what binds us with our client, that is trust. The client gives you all his books of accounts, he gives you all documents, he gives you all information which is required for conduct of audit. He also gives you access to many sensitive information, like during the course of audit you may come across, say, certain important addresses of clients customers. Okay, so would it be ethical for you to share these addresses with clients competitor? No, not at all. It won't be ethical, because then client's interest in a professional would be broken. So similarly, you can take another example. Say when you go to audit for a bank, so you come across many information about the customers, about the borrowers which are dealing with that branch. You get to know the financial information pertaining to those borrowers. You would be going through loan files, and you would be getting all information about the turnover, about the say names of customers, many things, because when a client deals with bank, when a borrower deals with bank, he has to give many informations to the bank as part of banking. So therefore, students, confidentiality becomes very important. Now, whatever information you come across by virtue of your association with the bank, so you cannot use this information uh, to give you advantage, or to give advantage to the competitors of the borrower. Because you have performed a professional assignment, and you have to you have to conduct it professionally. Yes, clear, guys. And fifth is professional behavior. Now, what is the meaning of professional behavior? Say, professional behavior simply means, students, that you won't do anything which might bring disrepute to the profession as a whole, which can tarnish the image of profession as a whole. Say you go to a government department in matter of some representation of your client, or for some professional work associated with your client. Say, and you create a scene there, you fight with employees posted there, and the matter reaches higher authorities of that department. So tell me, guys, whose image is tarnished? Not only image of that particular person, not only image of that particular professional, but the image of whole profession is affected. Yes, clear, guys? Sushil, you are asking what do we mean by professional competence? Professional competence means that whatever is my professional knowledge, First of all thing is that I shall keep myself professionally updated. And in accordance with that updated knowledge, in accordance with that competence, I would advise my client at all times. Okay. So I had given you example regarding change in some laws. So the client may be in knowledge of those things. Like say, for example, your client has acquired some subsidiary during the year. Okay. So the client doesn't know that that as per law, the financial statements of company are required to be consolidated, and consolidated financial statements are to be prepared. So it would be unethical on your part not to advise your client on this issue. So it would be a violation of principle of professional competence and due care. Yes. Yes, Sushil, is it clear to you? So guys, all these principles, remember, again, I am repeating it, all the names you have to remember for examination point of view. And what do these principles stand for? What do these principles mean? This you have also to remember. Yes. And there is one concept of independent students. Yes, Nurse Singhini, there is a mail ID of Board of Studies. This is the mail ID on which you are replying. This is the very mail ID. Nurse Singhini, I have got your mail. So you can reply on this ID itself. There is a concept of students independence of auditor. Remember students, while studying chapter 1, we had talked about independence of auditor. We had understood that audit is an independent examination of financial information of an entity. Remember in chapter 1, at that time we had touched this concept. Now all the aspects of this concept, of this topic, independence of auditor, we shall be discussing in this chapter. Now, whatever understanding you have, students, tell me, what do we mean by independence of auditor? Till now, we have used this word many times. Tell me, what is your understanding of independence of auditor? What does independence mean? Yes, Unni Krishnan, you are right. Decision of auditor not to be influenced by anyone. Yes, that's right. Yes, Rajesh, you are saying from where this principle coming from? No direct or indirect interest. Now, these principles have been derived from ISBA code, which I had stated at the beginning. ISBA Code of Ethics, International ethics standard boards for accountants, on the basis of which ICAI has derived its own code. Okay. Yes, Shreya, Ruhani, both of you are, Shreya, you are writing not influenced by others. Yes, right. And Ruhani is stating that auditor is able to give a free opinion. Yes, that is the effect of independence. So independence means that auditor is able to arrive at his opinion without being influenced by others. He is not subordinate to the person who has appointed him. Say some honor has appointed you as auditor of financial statements of the business entity. So you won't act on the directions of that honor. Once you have accepted the audit, you are going to conduct the audit in accordance with standards on auditing. You won't be influenced by his liking or his disliking. You won't issue a report to suit his interests. You would take decisions independently without being influenced by client or by any other person. Yes, Sushil, yes, you are right that opinion should not be biased. So clear, students? So theoretically, students, independence has got two aspects. There are two aspects to concept of independence. One is independence in mind, and one is independence in appearance. So what is independence in mind? Independence in mind means again that it is an attitude. It is part of your personality. It is part of your character, that you tend to take decisions in an objective manner on the basis of facts without being influenced by the person who has appointed you, or without being influenced by any other person. Nobody will exert influence upon you. So this is an attitude. So one aspect of concept of independence is independence in mind. Now another concept of another aspect of independence is independence in appearance. Now what does this mean? Independence in appearance. Now students, as the name suggests, independence in appearance means that not only an auditor should act independently, but he should appear to be independent to others. He should appear to be independent to the third parties. Say, for example, if I, as an auditor of the company, if I get visibly associated with the company in its, say, for its promotion of its products, then third parties or the users or the stakeholders, they would presume that I am part of the company, that I am so closely associated with the company that they may not rely upon the financial statements which may be signed by me. So therefore, the auditor has not only to be independent in attitude, independent in mind, but he has to be look so. So remember, one should be look independent. This is the meaning of this concept, independence in appearance. That one should look to be independent. That I as a chartered accountant, I should not do any such thing which would compromise, which would look to be compromising my independence. You understand this concept? So that although I may act independently, but other persons may think, other persons may perceive that I am not independent. Why? Because I am so closely associated with the client by virtue of my conduct, that I am acting in such a manner that other persons feel that this person is not independent, he is the part of the company. Clear, guys? Concept of independence in appearance is clear to you? And what happens, students, when there is a breach of independence, when there are threats to independence? So if there are any threats to independence, then the auditor would, first of all, he would see whether these threats can be removed, or whether these can be reduced to an acceptable extent. And if it is not possible, if the independence is going to be impacted, then he should withdraw from the engagement, or he should not accept the engagement, as the case may be. So clear, students? So there are, students, the code of ethics of ICAI identifies 5 threats. 5 threats to independence of auditor. Again, guys, these 5 threats are very important from examination point of view. Very, very important. Again, routinely after one attempt or so, some sort of question is coming on these. So you have to remember the names of these 5 threats. You have to understand what do these 5 threats mean. These are described, discussed in your module. So we'll take a quick look at what are these 5 threats to independence of auditor, and what do these signify, what do these mean. Okay. So first threat is self-interest threat. Another is self-review threat. Then there is advocacy threat. Fourth is familiarity threat. And fifth is intimidation threat. So remember names all the 5 names and meaning which we are going to discuss now. So what do we mean by self-interest threat? So self-interest threat means those situations, those instances which affect a chartered accountant's self-interest. Like say if you have taken loan from a company, so can you give company's independent report? Or say if you have taken loan from a bank, can you give independent report? Or you have given loan to somebody, some client, then can you give an independent report? Or you hold some shares in a company, then won't be your self-interest involved here? So these are all examples of self-interest threats. Or say if you are very much dependent on the fees received by from one of your clients, like your total receipts are say 1 CR, and you are receiving 50% of your fees, 50 lakhs from one single client. So can you remain independent as far as this client is concerned? Your self-interest is involved. Your self-interest would be involved. Okay. So these things are to watch for by a professional accountant, and these constitute examples of self-interest threats. Okay, students. These are examples of self-interest threats. So students, like there is a provision in Companies Act 2013. You have, I presume you have finished your company law classes. So have you read section 141? If I am not wrong, I am bad at remembering sections. So have you read section 141 of Companies Act? Which contains eligibility, qualification, and disqualification of auditors? Yes. Any one of you guys? Yes, Rohani, you are saying yes. So you can remember the yes, Rajesh, Avni, you can remember some disqualification of auditors as underlined in section 141 of Companies Act? Yes. What are those? Not in detail, just write 2-3 words. Yes, Rohani, Shreya. Yes, Rajesh, you are writing non-relative, non-audit service. What else? Yes, person having personal interest cannot become auditor of the company. Non-shareholder. Yes, Rajesh, you are right. So, like Companies Act imposes disqualification upon an auditor that he cannot be a shareholder of the company of which he is the auditor, and there is a bar also on his relatives holding shares in the company up to certain limit, beyond a certain limit. So this is an example of what, why this law has been made. Yes. why this provision has been enacted. Yes, let us discuss why this provision has been enacted in company law. Yes, anyone? Yes, Rajesh, you are right. Independence. So independence is right. Yes, Avni, you are also right, to eliminate threat of independence. Which threat? Which threat it is trying to eliminate? Yes, Shreya, you are right. 1 lakh relatives can hold. Which threat? Self-interest. Yes, Avani and Rajesh, both of you are right. So these provisions have been enacted. These provisions have been enacted to eliminate self-interest threat. So guys, now you can see the beauty of thing. So you can correlate this topic with what you have read in company law. So if you pause a little bit, if you think over, you would understand how things are intertwined together, how things are closely related with each other. So similarly, there is a provision in the Companies Act regarding indebtedness of the auditor, that he can't be indebted to the company beyond a certain amount. So that is again an example of eliminating self-interest threat. Okay. Then self-review threats. What are self-review threats? Self-review threats, students, arise in those situations where my work is going to be reviewed. Okay. Suppose, like, say, if I am also the internal auditor, or I had given internal audit services to a company. So how I would be able to conduct independently statutory audit? How I can accept the position as an external auditor? Because it would involve self-review threat. It would involve self-review threat. Therefore, also students, there are express provisions in Companies Act that a statutory auditor cannot provide internal audit services. Okay, section 144, Shreya, well done, very good. So again, students, you can correlate. So advocacy threat. What is advocacy threat? Advocacy threat means, say situation where you become a promoter of your client, where you become a advocate of your client's interests. Now, advocate here doesn't mean as we understand in legal sense. Advocacy means to promote somebody's interest. Like I had given you an example. Like say a company is launching some product. You are auditor of that company. So the company is organizing a huge press conference for promoting their products. The media is there, and you are also part of that press conference, and you also boast that you are auditor of the company. You also recommend company's products. So this is a kind of advocacy threat, where you become a promoter of, you are promoting company's interest. So the third parties are going to think that you are not an independent person. Okay, clear students? Familiarity threats. Now familiarity threats arise, students, when an auditor becomes too closely associated with a company, and it may give an impression that he is not independent, and um, by being closely associated with the company, with its work, he has become too familiar with the working, with the functioning of the company. So he is not able to take decisions independently during the course of audit work. So students, section 139 of Companies Act contains a provision. Section 139 of the Companies Act contains a provision which eliminates familiarity threats. Now, can you figure it out? Yes, Sushil Kumar Barik, advocacy means promoting somebody. Advocacy means to advocate interest of a company, to advocate interest of a client. जैसे like you understand Hindi, Sushil, so like in Hindi लोग कहते हैं ना बातों बातों में, आप उसका एडवोकेट मत बनिए. So this is, so you can understand what I am trying to convey. Yes. Yes, Shreya Gupta, you are saying rotation. Yes. So the provision for rotation of auditors, that in case of individual, he shall be appointed for a term of 5 years. Um, in case of a firm of auditors, a firm shall be appointed for not more than a consecutive terms, 2 terms of 5 years. In case of listed companies and certain other classes of companies. Yes, am I right? Yes, cooling period, Shreya, you are right. So these have been, this provision has also been incorporated in Companies Act to ward off familiarity threats, to eliminate familiarity threats. Or familiarity threats can arise in situation, say earlier you were working in some company as an employee. Now you have taken a certificate of practice, and immediately after taking certificate of practice, you have joined an audit firm, and which happens to conduct audit of that very company from which you had resigned. So obviously it would constitute a familiarity threat. Or you accept gifts or free hospitality from the company. So these are all examples of familiarity threats. And there is another threat, intimidation threat. Intimidation means, the literal meaning of the word intimidation is to intimidate, to put fear. Like say when client threatens you to do this type of work, or to do that type of work, or otherwise your interest would be harmed. So such type of threats are called as intimidation threats. Okay guys. So the auditor during course of professional assignment, he shall always take care that there are no threats to his independence, and if he identifies any threats to independence, he shall take steps to eliminate those threats or to reduce those threats to an acceptable level. If such threats can't be removed, then he shall uh, withdraw from the engagement, or he shall not accept the engagement if it is a new engagement. Yes, guys, so the concept of independence is clear to you. Yes, not every aspect, every Avani, you are asking, not every threat can be called self-interest threat. In every situation, you would see that there would be definitely there would be a combination of threats. But what we are talking about, what examples we are discussing, the major portion of the dominating threat is that threat which we are discussing. Okay. So definitely there can be different combinations of threats in any practical situation, but we are talking about dominant threats in particular situations. Okay. Yes, Pranjali, intimidation threat. So I'll take you to your module. So let us read the meaning of intimidation threat from your module. So intimidation threats occur when auditors are deterred from acting objectively with an adequate degree of professional skepticism. Deterred means they are prohibited. They are barred. Like say you have some difference of opinion, you have disagreement with your client relating to application of some principle. So like he may threaten you that he would not give you fees, he would give reduced fees, or things like that. He would drag you to the court. Okay, so these are examples of intimidation threats. To put threats which try to put fear in professional accountants' mind, in auditors' mind, and they just these situations may try to intimidate you. Okay. Yes, Paranjali, is it clear? So students, there is one another concept which we have touched upon many times during our lectures, and I remember some student had asked uh, this concept at very first lecture when chairman BOS was also there. So this concept is professional skepticism. And our chairman BOS said beautifully explained to that student also what does professional skepticism mean. Yes, Shreya, if threat can't be reduced, then the option is you can withdraw from the engagement. So yes, what is the meaning of professional skepticism? Yes, friends, I hope that every one of you knows this concept. Professional skepticism. Yes, Rajesh, questioning mind. Yes, correct. Yes, Rohani, assessing audit evidence critically. That is also correct. So one part Rajesh has said and another part Rohani has said. Both of you are right. So guys, professional skepticism means an attitude of questioning mind and an attitude of challenging everything, not to accept the things as these are dished out to you. Like say during the course of audit, I am interacting with client, I am obtaining certain information, and client gives me certain information. He tells me about say some controls. Now whether I would accept such things as such, obviously I would be conducting tests, obviously I would be using audit procedures to verify those controls. So the auditor has to remain alert at all times. He has to be awake when others are asleep. So that is the spirit of concept of professional skepticism. That he has to be awake when others are asleep. He has to be alert regarding the possibility of errors or frauds in the financial statements. He has not to overlook the unusual circumstances which he might come across during the course of audit, because potentially these may be indicators of fraud. So he can't take things lightly. Okay. Like for example, students, you are conducting audit of a company, and during the course of audit, you are also going through internal audit reports of the company which have been given by internal auditor appointed by the company, and you have asked some information from management. Now the information given to you by the management is contradictory with the findings of internal auditor. So obviously you would become alert that management is saying something else, but the internal auditor's findings are saying something else. So both things would be contradicting with each other. So this is an example of maintaining an attitude of professional skepticism. You have to question why it is so, because it may be such a situation may be indicative of some fraud of or of management trying to mislead you. Okay. And you have to critically assess the audit evidence. Now, whatever audit evidence you have obtained as part of your audit procedures, now you have to evaluate it. You have to assess it, whether in relation to a particular assertion regarding which you have obtained audit evidence, whether this audit evidence is sufficient, appropriate, whether it is sufficient, appropriate for you to make a definite conclusion about that matter, about that assertion. So this is what we mean by the concept of professional skepticism, that auditor has always to be aware, to be alert for some unusual circumstances, and during the course of audit, right from the beginning, from planning till end, he has to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism. He has to keep an attitude of questioning mind. Yes, students. Yes, and Pranjali, you are asking what is the meaning of professional judgment. Yes, good question, Pranjali. So, professional judgment means, say, Pranjali, you have to understand that an auditor or a chartered accountant, by virtue of his knowledge, by virtue of his experience, he is he is accumulated certain things. He is a repository of experience, of knowledge. He has passed a grueling professional examination, and he conducts his work in accordance with professional standards, in accordance with legal and regulatory requirements. So all these things are factors of his professional judgment. All such things help him, his knowledge, his study, his experience, all these things help him in arriving, in taking decisions professionally. This is what we mean by the term professional judgment. The experience, the knowledge which he has accumulated over a period of time. Yes, Paranjali, is it clear to you? Yes, Paranjali. Okay. Now, as outlined by me in the beginning, students, this chapter also deals with three standards. Which are these three standards? These three standards are SA 210, SQC1, and SA 220. So SA 210 deals with the name of the essay is agreeing terms of audit engagements. Now SQC1 is quality control standard. And SA220 also deals with quality control, but it is related to a particular audit engagement. So we'll come to it later on. First, students, SA210, agreeing terms of audit engagement. Now in chapter 1, students, we had learned that audit is an engagement. Now what is meant by engagement? Come to basics. What is meant by engagement? We say that audit is an engagement. What is the meaning of it? Yes, agreement between both the parties. Yes, Avani, right. So engagement means, say, when client engages a chartered accountant to conduct audit of its financial statements. Like in general terms, in layman's language, we can say to hire. This is not for to be written in the paper. So I am just telling you for understanding. Like you have to get some work done, you have to get some services. So audit is also a kind of service. So when you approach some chartered accountant to conduct audit of financial statements, then you are expecting a service to be provided by that chartered accountant to the client, to that entity. Okay. So we say that client has engaged the chartered accountant. The client has engaged the auditor. So this is the meaning of engagement. So we all know that audit is an engagement. So a chartered accountant also provides other services other than audit. And we had read in chapter 1, there are standards relating to those. That is why these are collectively known as engagement standards. Like auditor also renders review services, related services, and some on other assurance matters like prospective financial information. So these are all engagement. Audit is one of the engagements. Okay. So unless it is provided in law, engagement is like a formal contract between the two persons, between the two parties. Like many of you have written correctly, Paranjali and Sushil also. Avani has also written correctly. It is a formal agreement between auditor and client. Like, look, I as an auditor, I am going to provide you these kind of services. Like this is my scope of my services, and this is nature of my responsibilities, and certain responsibilities are thrust upon you also as a client. So these are terms of audit engagement. So it is necessary, it is important, it is significant that beforehand the two parties agree with each other on the terms of engagement. Okay. So that is the significance, that is the importance. So there is a standard SA210 specifically on agreeing the terms of audit engagement. Now, how these terms are agreed upon? Yes, guys, any one of you can tell? Say if some client has approached to you and you are also willing to accept the work of that client, the audit work of that client. Now, how you will agree to the terms of audit engagement? Yes, anyone? Obviously, you will make some sort of agreement. So, how you will agree to the terms of audit engagement? Yes, Devesh, on agreement paper or letterhead. Yes, so there is students a document which is known by the name of engagement letter. Engagement letters. So there is a engagement letter which is issued by yes, formal communication. Rajesh, you are also right. Devesh, yes, you are also right. So engagement letter is given by auditor to the client. Remember, that is very important. So he gives a copy of the same. It is issued by the auditor to the client, and he asks the client to sign and return back. Okay. So engagement letter, students, it contains the nature and scope of audit, responsibilities of auditor, responsibilities of management, and how he would report, what would be the form of the report, and what would be the expected form of the report. So there would be a small lines in relation to it. Obviously, the report would be dependent upon whatever he has found during the course of audit, but it would contain a general reference. Okay. And it would also include fees, agreed fees. That is why the auditor is rendering services to the client. He is not doing it for the free. Clear? Yes, Yashwardhan Tyagi, you are saying you have seen the recorded lectures. Very good, Yashwardhan. That's great. Yes, engagement letter is given by auditor to client. Yes, it is right, Sushil. Say the client would give you offer letter. First of all, the client would give you offer letter. Like say we are interested in appointing you as the auditor. So then a formal letter goes from auditor to the client. Okay, setting out the terms and conditions which are to be agreed by the client. So that is very important. Okay. So SA 210 students, it states that responsibilities of auditor are to agreeing the terms of audit engagement with management. So Essay 210 casts upon the auditor responsibility to obtain an agreement that management has agreed to the terms of audit engagement. It is his responsibility to obtain an agreement. Now, this is the logic behind sending engagement letter by auditor to the client. You can derive it from that, because Essay 210 casts a responsibility upon the auditor in agreeing the terms of audit engagement with the management, and it includes that certain preconditions for an audit are present, and the management agrees with the terms of audit engagement. There is common understanding between the auditor and the management on the terms of audit engagement. Now here we have used a word, students, preconditions. Preconditions for an audit. Remember students, this is important from examination point of view. Preconditions for an audit. So what do we mean by preconditions for an audit? Yes, anyone? Yes, can you tell students what do we mean by preconditions for an audit? So this is the meaning of preconditions for an audit. Preconditions for an audit simply mean the premise, the basis. Premise means basis on which an audit is conducted. Okay, so it also means use by management of an acceptable financial reporting framework in the preparation of financial statements and the agreement of management to the premise on which audit is conducted. So you have to remember this definition of preconditions of audit, which is quite important, students. So preconditions for an audit may be defined as the use by management of an acceptable financial reporting framework in preparation of financial statements. So first of all, for preparation of financial statements, it is necessary that management uses an acceptable financial reporting framework in accordance with which financial statements are going to be prepared. Like it may be prescribed by law, or if it is not prescribed by law, then it should be acceptable. It should be acceptable to the auditor. So this is the first part of the meaning of precondition. Use by management of an acceptable financial reporting framework in the preparation of financial statements. And second part is that management agrees to the basis on which audit is conducted. That management knows what is the scope of audit. That management knows that it is not an absolute assurance, that it is not a guarantee against against finding out of errors or frauds. The auditor would deploy procedures. He would work in accordance with standards on auditing, but these may or may not lead to digging out of frauds. So it should be clear to the management. Okay. So these are two parts of meaning of the word precondition. Now, the auditor's responsibility is to see that first whether financial reporting framework is acceptable and whether the management has understood its responsibility for preparation of financial statements, for internal controls, and it would provide all access to the auditor, all information to the auditor which is necessary for the conduct of audit. It would also provide unrestricted access to persons within the entity from whom the auditors want to get some information or any other type of information which the auditor is requiring. So management would cooperate in all this. Okay. So what happens, students, if preconditions of audit are not present? Now, can you imagine? Simple, very simple. Can you visualize? If preconditions of audit are not present, then what should a prospective auditor do? Yes. Say if the management does not acknowledge at first stage its responsibility of preparation of financial statements, or management does not acknowledge its responsibility of developing and maintenance of internal controls for the preparation of financial statements, then what should a prospective auditor do? Yes. Yes, Rajesh, audit cannot be conducted. Yes, before completing agreement, because yes. So students, if preconditions of audit are not present, then obviously you can very well understand that auditor should not accept the proposed engagement, because the preconditions which are necessary for the conduct of audit, these itself are not present. Yes, is the point clear? So agreement on audit engagement terms comes in the form of engagement letter. Now in your module, a representative engagement letter is also provided. Look, it is on the letterhead of a chartered accountant firm, and it is addressed to the client, to the company. Okay. So this is the name of the audit firm, address, name of audit firm, and it is addressed to the client. Now this is the name of the company, to the board of directors of this and this company. So it contains what? Number one, the objective and scope of audit. that it states that you have approached us to conduct the audit of financial statements of your company for this year, and we confirm our acceptance by means of this letter. And then it goes on to explains the objective and scope of audit. That objective of audit is to give reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from material misstatements as a whole, from fraud or errors. And it goes on to explain what does reasonable assurance mean, and that it is not necessary that audit conducted in accordance with standards on auditing would always detect a material misstatement. Okay, so all these things we have been saying several times. Okay, so then there is responsibilities of auditor. That what are the responsibilities of auditor? That audit would be conducted in accordance with standards on auditing, that we shall comply with the ethical requirements, and this is how we shall proceed with our work. Okay, we shall identify and assess the risk of material misstatements. We shall obtain an understanding of internal control. So all those things which you have read in your chapter 3, risk assessment and internal control. Okay. And then there are responsibilities of management. So remember guys, engagement letter all contains not only responsibilities of auditor, it also contains responsibilities of management. And the client gives back to you this piece of paper, which means that he has understood, he has acknowledged that he knows what are his responsibilities, what are their responsibilities as a company, as a client, that they are responsible for preparation of financial statements. They are responsible for proper and consistent application of accounting policies in accordance with accounting standards. And the responsibility of making judgments and estimate is also that of management. That management is responsible for internal controls, for designing and maintaining internal controls which are necessary for preparation of reliable financial statements. Okay. And fees, that our fees would be so much, and we shall be raising our fees bill after completion of audit work. And then there is reporting. Now, in reporting, the auditor is not stating that we shall issue you a certain kind of report. No, because he has still not started the audit. This we are talking when they are agreeing to the terms of engagement, when both parties, auditor and client, are agreeing to the terms of engagement. So the auditor is saying here, like we would give you a report on the state of affairs of your company, whether they depict true and fair view, and of the profit or loss of your company, and if cash flows are there, of the cash flows. But the report would be dependent upon, it would be in accordance with our audit findings. Now they are not saying initially that we shall give you an unmodified opinion, or we shall issue a modified opinion. So obviously the contents of audit report would be dependent upon the findings of the audit, which would be expressed by means of opinion. Okay. So please sign and return the attached copy. of this letter to indicate your acknowledgement and agreement with the arrangements of our audit. Like I told you at the beginning. So clear, students, and overview of essay 210. Yes, overview of essay 210 main points is clear to you. So students, there are two other standards which are in this chapter. One standard is SQC1. Standard on quality control. Only one standard is there. Standard on quality control. That is why the name is, the numbering is 1, SQC1. Now, what is students audit quality? There is a word, audit quality. Yes. Anyone, what is audit quality and what is the importance of it? What is the significance of it? Yes. Quickly, yes, students, tell me. Who can tell? What is audit quality and what is the significance of it? Yes, Paranjali, you are writing standard. What is, you have to elaborate it, what you are trying to say. SQC1 is a quality control standard. It is a quality control standard, not an engagement standard. It is a quality control standard. And only one standard is there, that is SQC1. Yes, what is audit quality? Yes, Rohani, Dantu Tejaswani. Yes. Yes, Devesh. Rajesh, you are asking how SQC different from SA. So you would get to know just in 10-15 minutes. Have a little patience, Rajesh. I will come to that point. Yes, as per audit standards. Anyone else? Paranjali, yes, quality means standards. Yes, benchmarks. So quality means that an auditor has to, audit quality means that an auditor has to perform the work in accordance with professional standards, in accordance with legal and regulatory requirements, so that ultimately whatever report he is issuing, it is appropriate. So like, say if I do not perform the work in accordance with standards, in accordance with standards on auditing, then obviously can you say that I have performed a qualitative audit. So you have read so many standards from SA 200, you have read SA 300, SA 320, SA 450, SA 500, 501, 510, 550, 530, SA 610. So tell me, if you do not conduct audit in accordance with professional standards, would your report be qualitative? Would it be appropriate? Yes. Avani, yes. You are saying no. Yes, it is right. It would not be appropriate because I have not conducted work, my professional work in accordance with professional standards. So now why audit quality is important? So if my work is not qualitative, then users would lose trust in the professional work. They would fail to have confidence in the work performed by a professional accountant as an auditor. Yes, Sushil, I am continuing. This is going to be probably the last lecture for September 24. So this is the importance of audit quality. This is why high audit quality is required to be maintained by auditors in all engagements. Clear, students? Importance of audit quality, and you know why it is important, what is its significance, what is the meaning of audit quality. Yes, audit quality means that work is performed, Sushil, in accordance with standards on auditing. That audit work is performed in accordance with standards on auditing, so that a qualitative, a professional report is issued by the auditor, which not only meets the professional standards, but is also in accordance with laws, but is also in accordance with regulations. So students, remember that ICAI has issued a standard SQC1. Now this standard SQC1 applies students at the level of firm. So what does this standard say about? What does this standard is all about? It says that every firm, every audit firm, they have to maintain a system of quality control, which they shall apply, which they shall use in all engagements. Now, whether these be audit engagements, whether these be review engagements, or whether these be related services engagement, or any other assurance engagements. So therefore, we say that SQC1 applies not only to audit engagements, but to all engagements. So like if a chartered accountant is providing review services, or if he is providing certain other assurance services relating to prospective financial information, even then SQC1 is applicable. So SQC1 is applicable to all engagements. Remember this. And it applies at the level of firm. Now, what does this mean? This means that SQC1 casts a responsibility upon each audit firm to develop and maintain a system of quality control in their firms, so that professional work relating to different engagements can be carried out in accordance with that system of quality control. So now, Rajesh, now your query is cleared. Yes, Rajesh. Now you are able to understand that SQC1 quality control standard is not applicable only to audit engagement, but it is applicable to all type of engagements. Whereas standards on auditing, these apply in case of audit of financial statements. So SQC1 would be applicable to audit also. It would be applicable to review also. Even in a related service engagement of the kind you have read in chapter 1, it would also be applicable. Yes. Yes, Rajesh, you are saying it is clear to you now. That's great, Rajesh. Yes, yes, it can apply to non-audit assignment. Like review is not audit. Like if a company has asked you to just provide a verification of debtors to perform certain procedures pertaining to trade receivables, you are not conducting an audit. You are conducting an assignment pertaining to trade receivables. You are performing certain agreed upon procedures relating to trade receivables. SQC1 would be applicable even then. Yes. Clear, Rajesh? Okay. So, students, as per requirements of SQC1, a firm should design a system of quality control which should include policies and procedures regarding these aspects. So a firm should design, SQC1 states that a firm should design policies and procedures regarding each of the following elements. Now, which are these elements? Now, first element is leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm. Now, what does this mean? Leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm. Now, somebody within the audit firm, he has to take the responsibility for overall audit quality, for overall quality, you can say, not audit quality, for overall quality, for overall quality in relation to all the engagements which are performed by a chartered accountant. So such a person would be, say, he would be the managing partner of the firm, or he may go by the name of CEO of the firm. So there would be some person who would take the overall responsibility, who would take the overall command of, of the quality within the firm. Now, what is the significance of a person taking such a control? So it would definitely fix the accountability, and it would help in communicating the requirements of the quality control system of the firm to its employees. Okay. So why it is important to communicate quality control requirements to the employees of the firm? Yes. Anyone? Why it is important to communicate quality control requirements to the employees of the firm, to the firm's personnel? Say there is a very big audit firm having, say, 25 partners, okay, and a staff of, say, more than 200, 300 employees. It has branches all over India. No, Sushil Kumar Barik, SQC means standard on quality control. It is not system of quality control. It means standard on quality control. Yes, what is the use of communicating quality control requirements, quality control procedures to the personnel of the audit firm? Yes, anyone? Yes, Pranav, you are right. Employees must be aware of the quality control requirements. This is obvious. What else? What else could be the reason? Yes, they wish to follow rules and regulations. They are ultimate implementers of quality, Avani. Yes, you are also right. What other reasons you can see? These are the obvious things, because unless the employee knows what are the quality control procedures, how they are, in absence of that, how they are going to implement it. That is right. That is the valid point. What else? Rajesh, conduct quality assignment. Yes, quality. That is also related to that. So you are writing, guys, the same thing. Rohani is also writing so that employees adhere to the benchmarks. That is correct. I am not saying it is not correct. All of you are writing correctly, valid points. But there is another aspect to it, that when an audit firm communicates quality control requirements, when it documents quality control requirements and procedures and communicates it to the personnel, then it is also in a position to get a feedback from its employees on the quality control systems. So therefore, by this mechanism, the firm also motivates and encourages its personnel to to implement quality control procedures in an effective manner, and their feedbacks, it is a reciprocal process. You devise a system and your employees give a feedback, and it could lead to the improvement of the system also. Yes, Devesh, cross verification. Yes, now you are nearing the point. So this is the point, students, I was trying to refer. It is written here in your module. Okay. Second is ethical requirements. Second is ethical requirements. Now, again, this thing we have just studied, ethical requirements. So I would not repeat it again. So while conducting assignments, while conducting engagements, the firm should establish policies and procedures so that all the professional work, all the engagements are conducted in an ethical manner by keeping in mind the requirement of code of ethics. Okay, you keep in mind independence requirements in case of audit or in other engagements wherever it is applicable. So therefore, ethical requirements is also one of the important elements of the system of quality control. Clear, guys? Third is the acceptance and continuance of client relationships and specific engagements. So, Sushil, you are writing why SQC is important in audit. Sushil, if audit is not conducted in accordance with the quality control system devised by the firm, then what would be the value of your report? If you do not perform your work according to the professional standards, you would issue an inappropriate report. You would issue a wrong report. And not only the client would lose interest in you, in your reporting, you would also be liable to disciplinary action by the regulator, by the ICAI, or by some other authority. Okay. So acceptance and continuance of client relationships and specific engagements. Now, whenever students, SQC1 states, whenever you have to accept a new client, or whenever you are continuing with existing client, you have to see about the about few matters, like matters regarding integrity of the client. Now you would say, how it is possible for us to say that whether the client is lacks integrity or whether the client has integrity? How it is possible? We are not investigators. So guys, this only means that you would take your decisions carefully. You would take your decisions on accepting the engagement diligently, and you would make some general diligent inquiries regarding the reputation of client, regarding regarding who are the owners of the client, in which kind of business they are, what is nature of their business, why they are appointing me as an auditor, why they are not, say, continuing with the previous auditor. Obviously, say if you do not know a person and if he comes to your office, you would ask how you have come, who has given you the reference, and tell us something about you. What is your company? What is your nature of business? What is who are the promoters? What is your standing? So all these things would be looked into by a prospective auditor. Like say SQC1 even states um, that you should not accept an engagement if there are indications that the client is involved in money laundering activities or the client is engaged in criminal activities. Say you do not make diligent inquiries, and later on you come to know that client is running some business which is only a front of some other illegal or criminal activity. So had you exercised some caution, some diligence, and had you inquired about the company, had you inquired about the client, you may have come to know these things. Okay. And while accepting an engagement, students, the chartered accountant, the partner, they have to see whether they have the competence and capability to perform that work. Suppose taking an example of audit, suppose you accept audit of a client which is a very big company. Okay, take a hypothetical, take an imaginary example. You accept audit of a very big listed company, but you do not have competent staff or capable staff. You do not have staff strength to conduct audit of such a big listed company. So can you do justice to the work? No, you can't do, because you do not have adequate staff. You do not have professional staff, competent and capable staff. You do not have the numbers to conduct the audit. Like the company may be having its business at several locations, so you may not have the staff to visit those locations or to attend the physical inventory count at those locations. So how you are going to conduct a qualitative audit? Obviously, in such a situation, you would be skipping certain mandatory procedures. Yes. Is that clear, students? Yes, Sushil, monitoring, we are coming to it at the end. So again, students, I am repeating, there are 7 elements of a quality control system which are stated in SQC1. So first element is leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm. Second element is following of ethical requirements. That ethical requirements have to be followed in accordance with the code of ethics of ICAI. And third is acceptance and continuance of client relationships and specific engagements. Now fourth is human resources. Fourth is human resources. So again, it is related to this aspect that that staff, the personnel which are there in my firm, they are capable, they are competent, and they have sufficient experience to deal with the kind of engagements which my firm is taking up. And my firm should have suitable HR policies of paying due salaries, due compensation. There should be adequate orientation and training programs. So all these kind of things would keep employees of my firm updated, and they would be able to perform qualitative work. Okay. And fourth thing is engagement. Rather, fifth point is engagement performance. Now, what is engagement performance? Now, quality in engagement performance is achieved, guys, by means of taking inputs from your employees. So they tell you what happened during the course of audit, what were their observations, these kind of things. And there during the course of audit, certain matters may arise in which the team members may be having different opinions. So if some opinion can't be arranged, some common understanding can't be made in respect of some difficult matters, or in respect of some matters in which there are more than one opinion. So consultation can take place. Such consultation can be taken from an outside firm also, or from professional bodies like ICAI. Like, you can send your query to ICAI to resolve the issue. Say there is some new accounting standard has come, and in some unique situation faced by you during the course of audit, you want to have an expert opinion. So you can send the query to the ICAI. You can seek their consultation. Okay. And students, there is another thing, another concept which is not in detail at intermediate level. It would be there in quite detail at your CA final level. So this standard, students, is again repeated. SQC1 is again repeated at your CA final level. Now here at CA intermediate level, only basic things, only basic overview is given. Whereas at final level, you would be taught about SQC1 in a detailed manner. Okay. So there is another concept of EQCR. It means engagement quality control review. Now, suppose you are auditor of a firm, your audit firm is responsible for the audit of a firm. So SQC1 talks about this concept of engagement quality control reviewer, that there should be a reviewer who uh, who makes a review of how you conducted the audit, which significant decisions you arrived at during the course of audit, whether these are in accordance with the standards on auditing, whether the opinion expressed by you is going to be in accordance with standards on auditing. So students, remember that engagement quality control review is mandatory for listed companies only. It is mandatory, it is compulsory for audits of listed companies only. For companies, for entities which are not listed, SQC1 says that there should be policies and procedures in the firm which should state that how engagement quality control review is to be conducted. Like there should be that firm by its internal system, it should fix some criteria, it should fix some threshold for conducting engagement quality control review. Now another question would be arising in your mind, who conducts such a review? Now such a review may be conducted by other partner within the firm, or may be conducted by some engagement partner who is having sufficient experience of another audit firm. So what happens generally in the case of listed companies, that when an auditor is appointed, when he starts conduct of audit, he also makes an appointment of engagement quality control reviewer. Okay, so this much you have to understand, students, about engagement quality control reviewer, and detailing is not there at CA intermediate level. And the auditor, the audit firm, the engagement partner, he has to take into account the recommendations of engagement quality control reviewer. He cannot issue a report before resolution of differences, if any, between him and engagement quality control reviewer. Okay, so these differences need to be resolved like by themselves, or by taking some external help, by taking some expert advice, etc. But these have to be resolved. Okay. And all these things, that assembly of audit file has to be completed within 60 days, and the records have to be kept for 7 years. This you have read in your chapter on audit documentation, chapter number 6. So I am not going to repeat it here. Yes, so monitoring means that the system should be able to review, that you should be able to review the system, and you should constantly make efforts that quality control system remains relevant, it is operating effectively, it is adequate. Like during the course of audits itself, you would maintain a vigil, you would maintain alertness, that every work is being performed in accordance with the laid out policies and procedures of the firm. Okay, so this was an overview of SQC1. And there is another standard, students, SA 220. The name of the standard is Quality Control for an Audit of Financial Statements. Now remember guys, if you have done SQC1, then SA220 is also on the same lines. There is no major difference. But the difference is as regards the applicability of SQC1 and SA220. Now students, I have told you at the beginning that SQC1 applies at the level of firm. That firm has to devise a system, quality control system. It should lay down policy and procedures for maintaining quality in all the engagements performed by the firm. Now SQC therefore is operating at the level of the audit firm, whereas SA220 applies in a particular audit engagement. Now when you go to conduct an audit, you would be doing the work in accordance with the quality control system laid by your firm in accordance with SQC1. So that is the difference between SQC1 and SA220. SA220 is a standard on auditing, but it deals with quality control for an audit of financial statement. If it applies to a particular audit engagement only, whereas SQC1 applies at the level of firm, and SQC1 applies to all engagements. We have learned that SQC1 applies to audit engagements, review engagements, other assurance engagement, related service engagements, but SA220 it only applies to a audit engagement. So this is the difference between two. Rest of the points are similar. It is modeled on the lines of SQC1. Okay, so this you can read. There is no need for me to repeat it again, the points of SA220. So the main thing is that you have to understand what is the basic difference between SQC1 and SA220. SQC1, remember students, again I am repeating it. SQC1 is a quality control standard, number one, whereas SA220 is a standard on auditing. As the name suggests, it is SA, whereas SQC1 is a standard on quality control. SQC1 applies at the level of firm, whereas SQC1 applies at the level of a particular audit engagement. SQC1 applies to all engagements, whereas SA220 applies only to audit engagements. So rest of the points between SQC1 and SA220 are similar, whereas SQC1 talks about the quality control system at the level of a firm, and SA220 talks about quality control in an audit engagement, in a particular audit engagement. Is it clear to you guys? Yes, Manishi, you can unmute now. Yes. Yes, students, if you have any query, you can ask on Zoom. Yes. Any query, students, you can ask on Zoom in Hindi or English, whichever language is preferable to you.
Dr. Jain, sir, there is no query. You explained it very well, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. Devesh. Thank you. Yes. Anybody else? Yes, anyone else? Student, if you have any query, you can ask on Zoom. Otherwise, I will presume that you have nothing to ask on Zoom. None. So, Manishji, you can mute again. Okay. Yes, Devesh, you want to ask something?
No, sir. No, sir. It's by
Okay.
mistake only.
Okay, okay. So मनीष जी आप म्यूट कर दीजिए. यस अशोक म्यूट कर दीजिए. Okay. So so students, we have covered overview of all the chapters right from chapter 1 till chapter 11. So all the recorded lectures of the last classes are also available on BOS portal. So you can see those recorded lectures and you can understand the things. So students, at the very first lecture, I had told you that for you to get good marks in audit, it is necessary that you not only understand the things, but you also remember the things. You also learn the things, and you are able to put those things into writing. It is very important. If you say, like, I have seen the video, I have understood everything, I have understood the concepts, but my dear students, you have to write it in the exams to fetch you good marks. This you can't achieve without constant remembering and practice. So I am again repeating what I had told you at the first class, that there are 4 steps. One thing is understanding. Then second thing is remembering. Now, first thing is you have to gain understanding, that you have gained understanding of some concept. Now you have done today's chapter. Now you have gained a understanding of this concept. You have got broad idea of what independence is, what professional skepticism is. Now, second thing is remembering. Now the main work starts here, that you have to remember the key points. You have to remember, you have to learn, you have to establish the things in your mind. You have to correlate one concept with another. And after remembering, then again you have to revise. Then next step is revision. First revision, second revision, third revision. And you have also you should also do some practice of writing some sample answers. Say students who are not well versed in writing, or whose communicating abilities through the medium of writing are not up to mark or poor, they would not be able to write in the auditing paper. They would just go blank in the paper, because although they understand, either they have not remembered, either they have not learned, or they are not they are not able to write, they are not able to express. So you would be able to express only when the concepts are, when the key points are coming to your mind immediately. So guys, you have to attempt about 20-21 questions, descriptive questions besides case studies. You have to do 5 questions, each containing 4 parts. So 20 questions are there, and there are 3 case studies and 3 MCQs. So unless a sequence is established in your mind, what is the name of a particular essay, what does this essay deal with, what are auditor's responsibilities, what are its requirements. So start from essay 200 and make a sequence, do all the important points, and then you would be able to write in your exams. Okay. Yes, Sumit. Sushil, you are writing. Please share your CA journey. So, yes, Sushil, now our journey has become quite old. Now you talk about your journey. Okay. So, Sumit, you are saying what would be maximum words for maximum marks question? So, Sumit, in exams, in descriptive type questions, you are getting 4 marks or 3 marks question at intermediate level. So, for 4 marks question, you would be writing 2 paras or at the max 1 page. Most of the question would be over in 2 paras. And for 3 marks question, 4-5 lines, one and a half para would be sufficient. Questions, students understand, they are designed in such a way that specific points are being asked. Like in Caro 2020, you would be asked some specific 3-4 points particular to a relevant to a particular clause. You are not being asked to write all the 21 or 22 points of Caro. So it is not that questions are of 20 marks question is coming or 25 marks question is coming. All questions are of 3-4 marks. So specific points would be asked. So Sushil, yes, you can write in the exam hall by first learning, first remembering, and you must do writing practice also. Yes, it depends upon you guys. How you deal with the subject, how you treat the subject, it depends upon you. Now, there is an old saying that you can take a horse to a pond of water, but you cannot make him drink water. So all this is that we can tell you how to do the things, but it is to be executed by you. Execution is in your hands. You have to write the paper. Yes, Avni, you are asking how to manage time. Like Avni, that you have to do. There are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. You have to devote extra hours. You have to study at least 10-12 hours in a day, so that you can achieve the desired results. Yes, if you have conceptual clarity, if you have gone through the module, if you have learned all the concepts, MCQs won't be difficult. So remember guys, at intermediate level, in audit, the standard is not very advanced. Medium questions of moderate difficulty are usually asked. 1-2 questions are tricky, But if you have gone through whole of the syllabus, then you can very well handle the questions. Yes. Okay, that's all for today, guys. And thanks for listening patiently. And happy learning to all of you. And best of luck for your forthcoming examinations. And I hope you prepare well, not only for this paper, but for all papers, so that you can clear the exams in this very attempt. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much, and good night. Yes, Ashok, session is over. Okay. Okay.